Hello, and a very warm welcome to our next session here at the News9 Global Summit India edition. And the theme for our next session is Cybersecurity Safeguarding the Future. And for this very special session, we have some very special panelists joining us. I'm going to begin by introducing them. We have Ms. Shagarika Chakraborty, CEO of IRIS. Huge round of applause for Shagarika Chakraborty. Thank you so much for being with us. We have Mr. Pradeep Gupta, Chairman and MD, Cyber Media. Huge round of applause for Mr. Pradeep Gupta. And we have Mr. Sanjay Katkar, Joint Managing Director, Quick Heal. Huge round of applause, Mr. Sanjay Katkar. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll also have Mr. Kanish Gaur joining us in just a bit. But let's kick off the proceedings. Sagarika, let me begin with you. The latest statistic is that high-value cyber frauds in India are up four-folds in the recent past to over $20 million. That's how fast cyber frauds are going. We keep talking about how fast technology is growing, and alongside with it, the level and the quality of frauds are also going up.
Absolutely, because the people who are behind the frauds are equally technologically superior. They are experts.
Yeah, now it's on.
It's on? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start again. I'm saying absolutely, because the people behind, or the brains behind the cyber fraud are technical experts. So what do you expect? We think that traditionally, it's that chor police ka game, wherein the people whom we are chasing are based out of some small town. No. But let's go back to Netflix, okay? What did Jamtara say? Sabka number aayega. And that's the truth, because they are after all of us. They are that experts.
You know, Kanish, could you just talk?
One more click. Yeah.
All right, Kanish, thank you. Great to have you here. Gupta, you just joined in just the nick of time as well. We're talking about a simple statistics I want to begin with. High-value cyber fraud in India was up fourfold for the year 2024 to over $20 million. Every day in the newspaper and social media, we're looking at one case of digital arrest after the other. So we have really reached that point where the danger is not very far away from any of us sitting inside this hall. It's there, it's staring at us right in front of us.
No, absolutely, Krishna Kumar. And one of the blaring facts today is that this is not just happening from within the country. It's organized crime, it's serious organized crime, which is happening from countries like Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, where there are more than 50,000 people from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, who've gone on tourist visas and are now part of organized cyber criminal gangs who are duping people. The calls that you get are not normal calls. These are sophisticated methods. They have satellite phones, which are being used today for doing these calls. And they are tracking you using your simple Truecaller. They will do the social engineering, try and find out where you have been, and then try and extract money from you. And all kinds of new techniques. So there is proper training, planning, what methods will work. They know where you're based, and they will create that mechanism to fraud you. And the kind of money which moves around, it's in tens and thousands of crores. And that get moved to using cryptocurrencies as a mean. So what is required today is more of international collaboration, because if a cyber criminal is doing this activity sitting out of another country and you don't have a bilateral agreement with them, or you're not able to produce truth, it's very difficult to nab them. And a lot of times local governments are also involved in supporting some of these. And also, if I've done some investigation, I found that these used to be compounds for running casinos. So it's quite complex.
It is quite complex. Sanjay, let me quickly come to you. It's quite complex, but it's quite simple as well. You can't take any of your data that's available in the public domain for granted. You have to be doubly sure that you found the best ways to protect your information.
So rightly you said, the thing is we are now so much used to digitization. And we have adopted it like anything, and we are not fearing sharing our data online, we are not fearing putting things. But we have seen, being in this industry for last 30 years, I have seen that the cyber criminals are always doing and understanding latest sophisticated technologies. If you go out there on dark web, you'll see so many tools available which are so sophisticated. They can hack your phone easily, they can hack your laptops, phones. And the thing is, the technology that we are started using because of all this digitization, it's just increasing our attack vector. It's like we are every day opening new door for getting attacked. But there is no way we are thinking about how to protect against that. Protection is like afterthought many a times once somebody gets hit by that, and then they start thinking, oh, what should I do now actually?
Protection is invariably an afterthought. But what do you do, Pradeep? Let me come to you. We are living in a time where we want to be as digital as possible, especially when it comes to money. You know, from the time when we were very skeptical about buying something online using a credit card or a debit card, today we scan a QR code from everything from a chai wala to a five-star hotel. Huge amounts of money gets transacted by average people via digital means. And the moment you do that, every single time you make a digital payment, you increase your vulnerability, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And Krishna, you said that $20 million. I think that is the tip of the iceberg. You only see 1%. Okay, there is 99%
the
more.
reported one, I'm guessing.
Exactly. So 99% fraud, which is completely unreported. So we are talking about huge numbers there.
Wow, you're saying that about only 1% of cyber frauds get reported?
Absolutely. Okay. So therefore, it is a clear and present danger. Okay. And so, you know, when you say safeguarding the future, I think we need to safeguard the present. We have to safeguard the past because there is so much of data which is sitting. Because, you know, these days as a digital citizen, you are sharing so much of information. And financial transactions is one, but there is also a clear and present danger as far as your social profile is concerned. You know, there have been all varieties of crimes that have been conducted. There have been bullying that has happened. There have been, you know, people who have been sort of, you know, gone through very tortuous processes. And I think it all starts by, first of all, safeguarding the data ourselves. We have to have rigor. Because if we, you know, indiscriminately start using different things, start clicking on different kind of links and so on, then we are inviting danger. So it all starts by putting a grill in your house at least, you know.
Shagarika, go ahead. You wanted to say something.
I just wanted to add on that by saying, and I think I'll pick on Sanjay's point, that we are a reactive population, okay? We are not a proactive one, and that's the fact. And we Indians, and I say that being a very proud one, we are also very optimistic people, okay? We really stand by and think that the lightning is not really going to crash on us, it's going to impact the other person. And that optimism also means that we don't value the personal identifiers that we have. Till date, you will see the bail puriwala actually wrapping your bail in a PAN card photocopy. Why? Because he got it from a photocopier, wherein you did not actually notice that whether or not you destroyed that. So till the time that we believe that a password, a protected app is needed, a double authentication is needed, okay, it all needs to start from home. And yes, I agree with Kanish's point with regard to the bilateral treaties that are required, the governments that are required. But at the same point of time, it has been harped over and over again that there is a 1930. But let's do a show of hands. We've all got calls. How many of us have called 1930? Yeah, you have your answer.
As in, whoever got calls, put your hands up. That's the entire room, I'm guessing. Whoever has called 1930, put your hands up. One.
Krishna, I want to make a point here. How many of have called 1930 and actually been able to register a complaint? That's another pain.
Okay.
The cybercrime helpline, cybercrime.gov.in, it is so difficult to register the complaint. The user experience is so bad. People are not able to register their complaint. And even after they register the complaint, the coordination of this information reaching the police station and an investigation officer getting appointed and reaching out to you for helping you, it takes months. And sometimes people don't even get that response. So the entire infrastructure for cyber crime response need to be overhauled. The 1930 is not reachable. A lot of times, people who reach out to me and ask me that how should we respond to this, they say that if they go to the police station, the police is going to mock them, saying you have been a fool. The other thing is when They go and contact 1930, the number is not reachable. They try and register the complaint. Most of the time, there is some or the other flaw in the website itself that they are not able to upload the file or complete the request. So that's another irony.
It's an irony, and it's okay. We have a question. Please go ahead, sir.
My father lost almost 1 CR in a cybercrime. It took us more than 1.5 months just to file a FIR at the cybercrime police station, because we had to go there at least 7 or 8 times. Though my sister is a lawyer, even then we had to go through so much of steps. But even after filing the FIR, there has been no step from the other side. It's we that we've been pursuing them, ki, okay, at least freeze the bank accounts and all those things, but all that has not happened. So how do we address this weak point that is at the end of the police?
Sanjay, you want to take that?
Yeah, I just want to add to that the point Ms. Kanishka rightly made. The thing is like, see, if you see 20 years back, we had to go to bank, get our passbooks printed for the latest statement. But then if you see now, everything is online. We went from checks to we went on NEFT, online, everything. So on one hand, we are digitizing, we are taking things, so making things easy for everybody. And it's not only cities, but it's like 2 B class, C class towns, they are now all digitized. But that kind of modernization has not happened on the law enforcement side. It's way back, it's still functioning as it was functioning 20 years back. That's the very sad thing to say. And as he rightly said, and I myself have experienced, I had gone to police station when I was talking to a cyber criminal. I knew that he's online and he's a fraud guy. So I just wanted to showcase this to how to catch and that, because I had done that, we can track them. But the thing is, police said, "Aapka paisa gaya hai kya?" There are people sitting here who has lots and money, so you come after you have something. That was the answer to me actually. And then I said, it's like, unless we modernize things, unless we make them capable, it's like, it's not that their fault. The point is, there is a lot to be done on the front of modernization. We need to make things easy for them to do those things.
Sanjay, forget modernizing. How about humanizing? You can't tell somebody that first you lose money and then we'll take your complaint seriously, isn't it, Pradeep?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Completely agree with the point that Sanjay is making. See, it's the rate at which technology is changing and the way the crime, the people who are committing crimes, they are far, far ahead of the legislation, then the investigating agencies, and then the judiciaries. Okay, so the law is at least 2 years behind. You know, the cops are probably 3 years or 4 years behind, and the judiciary is probably 6 years behind. So it's an unfortunate situation, but I think we do require complete overhaul and change so that we can tackle these modern changes which are taking place in technology very, very rapidly.
Shagarika, you were talking to us about an experience that you yourself had of a possible, of somebody who's possibly trying to digitally arrest you.
Yeah, so that's happens, and I guess I am not the only one, because digital arrest has become very, very common. I mean, with my father standing next to me, I've got a call saying that, beta, I'm trying to reach your father, he is not available, I have money to return. So I'm like, yeah, right. knowing my father, you've called the wrong number. So that's it. But then again, and I'm sorry, probably it's a misnomer that I'm going to say, but digital arrest, unfortunately, has been an overused term. Our Prime Minister actually addressed this during the Mann Ki Baat in 2024. And he did try to say that this is just the tip. As citizens, you need to be aware. As citizens, you need to be proactive. The DPDP Act, and we have our IT Minister speaking, sometime later in the evening, being his brainchild, also passes on the responsibility to stakeholders, to public and private both. We are all over here concerned that we got a call with regard to, say, a fraudulent parcel, okay, or any other thing. But just let's pause and say that how did they get the number? Isn't that something that we also need to ask? In 2019, our phone number, an individual phone number, was worth 30 paisa in the market in bulk buy, wherein a privileged number which you go to buy is for 15 lakhs. In 2022, it has come down to 10 paise. So why aren't we addressing and asking the bigger questions, which is about the mass breaches, which is about unsecured technology which corporates are using. Digital arrest is today small. There's a new scam which says that you've been involved in an accident or you have missed out on a toll payment, and a link gets sent to you which is exactly like the RTO website. So the fact that AI and deepfakes are taking over even so-called government-led, websites, these are the more important things that we need to talk about.
Absolutely. Kanishk, I wanted to ask you, it's not like the TRAI or even the RBI has not stepped in. The RBI has asked for the freezing of accounts which have related to fraudulent transactions. The TRAI is blocking spam numbers, but nearly not enough has been done. From the end of the authorities, we'll get into the responsibility of the corporates as well. We'll talk about that with Chagarika. But do you think enough is being done from the authorities' end, considering the sudden mushrooming of digital arrests and cyber frauds?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Enough has been done by the authorities, because the biggest issues today is that these government websites remain insecure. Very easy to clone these government websites. And if you do the search also, the search has been manipulated that the fraudulent websites is going to appear first. So very difficult for a layman to find out if he's going to the regular website or is it going to the cloned websites. Lot of government websites are cloned today. The database has been compromised and people get duped. And the links they are sent, they are very similar. So very difficult for a layman to identify whether it is the original website. And the key part which is required is the Computer Emergency Response Team. They have created a list of auditors. There are 120 companies which are registered, but there is no fixed rate. So today, the companies which are doing some of these security audits, they don't have the expertise. They use open source tools, and on L1 rate, they are hired. They are not able to produce that kind of quality. So the empanelment process, it needs to be streamlined. They are just spending few thousand rupees, and at the end of the day, these companies want reports which are clean. So they don't want the final report to go in a way which highlights a lot of issues. That's one of the key aspects. So you will have to move to a model of QCBS and not just L1 to ensure there are quality partners who are there to safeguard you, and not just look at security audit, but proactively what are the baselines that need to be ensured. The websites don't even have something called a secure socket layer. We understand, Sanjay would be able to add, now we have HTTPS, which makes the website look more secure. Even the basic secure socket layer is not there. The email is vulnerable to phishing, so they have a concept called as DMARC and SP of records. If it is correctly configured, then it is not possible to send phishing emails. Now, if the DMARC and SP of records are not correctly configured, you can appear as the CMD of a government, or you can appear as a police commissioner sending out emails. And a lot of government websites don't have these basics set up right.
Sanjay, you want to add to that?
No, he absolutely right. He has pointed out a lot of vulnerabilities that are out there. The thing is, we talk a lot about cybersecurity awareness for masses and all, but then the back-end systems really need to be worked on, and that's the first thing to be done actually, and which is very, very important. Even government is on the one hand, but private sector is also very way back behind with respect to the technologies that they are using, and cyber criminals are always ahead with the latest technologies. If you see the implementation, the way AI was made available 3 years back, the most use of AI has been seen in the cyber criminal side actually. They are like trying to create deepfakes, trying to create videos, trying to create audios to make sure that they look legitimate and fool the people actually. So here we are trying to catch up the game, which is not a good sign, I'll say. Yeah.
It's a catch-up game that's going on, Pradeep. One is what the authorities do. Two is what the individuals need to do. And three is, in everything from infrastructure to cybersecurity, the public-private partnership is really going to hold the key for the future, isn't it?
No, absolutely. You're right that we have to find solutions, because, deep fakes are increasing. We had this issue of the Supreme Court of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court being, a fraudulent inquiry that happened, and a senior businessman ended up spending a huge amount of money sending it to some unknown accounts. So, by the way, this is not just an India issue, because this is a global problem that is being faced. Until and unless there is proper partnership amongst various players which are there, and we are moving in that direction. For instance, the telcos have started working on it. Similarly, others need to work on different kind of solutions. And until and unless we do that, it's going to be a very difficult thing to be able to address.
Not just telcos, I think there's to be a greater participation from the private sector as a whole, isn't it? If India and Indian citizens' cyber future is to be secure.
So, Krishna, firstly, I'll say it's not a game, it's a war. And the war is on. So, if we still remain worried that probably Alexa is hearing or eavesdropping, we are concentrating on the wrong problems. Rather, I should be waking up as a corporate and asking myself, am I contributing more to the problem where I should be the solution? Kanishk is absolutely right. Today, when we speak about, say, government organizations or private organizations, I have been told on my face that you're talking about cyber insurance is the budget of my next 5 years for IT security. Now, that is what it is, and that's it. So if it is a war, we cannot work in silos. If there is a task force that is needed, when the Indian Army goes out there to battle, we need a task force today. And the task force needs to have the public-private partnership. It needs the government to collaborate with security experts. And we need to up our technological edge. There's no two way about it. But at the same point of time, we need to understand that people on the other side, they are just not any other criminals. Yeah. They are security experts, and you beat an expert with an expert.
There was a time when we used to fear dacoits. Now is the time to fear the cyber dacoits, so to speak. Kanishk, the one other thing I want to ask you about is also the fact that the year 2023, which is the last year, saw a 100% rise in state-sponsored cyber attacks. And there's a study that says that, there could be 1 trillion cyber attacks per annum in India by the year 2033. So, we're looking at the specter of state-sponsored cyber attacks as well, apart from these individual criminals.
Absolutely. Sagarika made a point. The war is on. The war is on, and the new dimension of warfare is cyber. You have information warfare, you have disinformation campaigns which are being launched. The case which happened in case of Nupur Sharma, people were putting all things. That all was disinformation targeted towards India. All of that was originating from Pakistan. If you look at the handlers, they were sitting in Pakistan and trying to put forward a narrative so that people come forward and physically get involved. So today, for creating any kind of civil unrest, you don't require to send weaponry, you don't require to send bombs. All you require is information warfare. You need info warfare to be done, and people will create that civil unrest. Today, India is targeted massively because of this info warfare. You would see this happening on social media platform. The other key thing is you have something called as APT, Advanced Persistent Threats, where the state of various countries is involved in attacking our critical infrastructure, our banking establishments. So now they understand that India has got digitized. We have a digital Bharat. So they are today looking at how they can DDoS or even destroy our critical infrastructure. When the attack were happening on India, on China, on the war in Ladakh, which we had, there were cyber attacks on our power systems. There were cyber attacks on our chemical plants. The Maharashtra, we saw the power grids going down. And constantly we have seen that our critical infrastructure is getting targeted, and the attack is getting more stealth. It is getting more complex. And you would see cyber armies. So if you look at China, they have more than 10,000 cybersecurity professionals. And these are part of their groups. You have something called as Tag 38, APT 27, APT 41. If you read about them, you'll find out there are private militias which are involved in attacking India's critical infrastructure. And same is the case which is coming from the other side on Pakistan as well. So the dimensions of warfare have changed, and you have hybrid warfare. The hybrid warfare has also been noticed in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the conflicts that have happened with Hamas and Israel. And the war is constantly on. You require psychological operations, you require information warfare operations, and you have cyber operations.
If I were to ask this question, Sanjay, at this stage, you're looking at a future where in India, you have data packs as low as 11 rupees. That roughly translates to 13 cents. One of the lowest when it comes to buying data, and consequently, the reason why you have the internet penetration is growing exponentially, and consequently, the reason why digital payments are growing exponentially in this country as well. So none of this is going to go backwards. We're going to only keep going forwards in terms of levels of internet penetration, levels of digital payments that are going to be happening. If ransomware were to be the main problem, then only the big corporations would be worried about it. But fact of the matter is that neither are the big corporations secure enough, nor are the small individuals at this stage.
Yeah, so as we rightly said at the beginning, that the way we have digitized, it has increased the attack vector, and the internet rates going down is one of that which helps us to go more digital, and like everybody among us can go online because they are cheap, and compared to the globe, we are one of the cheapest with respect to the data packs, and that has really helped us to go digitize. But what is happening now, the trust is level of going digital, doing digital payments has gone down, just because the problems that we are seeing, the cybercrime attacks that we are seeing, and that trust levels, if we don't start arresting these things, it will go further down. And how I can give one example is like, we are seeing so many cases of digital arrest in the newspaper, but we haven't seen a single news that says that we arrested this guy who was doing digital arrest and now he's been arrested. Because the thing is, we are not, the law enforcement is not capable of doing this thing. It's not like that completely. If you see, if the CM of a state or if a PM of a country receives a phone call or something which is malicious, in next 2 hours the guy is caught actually. It's like there are tricks and techniques available, there is a knowledge available, but it is only available to the elite, or I'll say, the thing is, it's not available through masses, and that is the need. We need to like modernize everything. Unless we do that, these kind of mistrust or distrust among a certain percentage of people will always be there actually.
And Shagarika, we can afford that mistrust at this stage, isn't it? UPI, for example, is a revolution that has taken over India. It is in fact setting standards for other countries to follow. In fact, we have been a case of best case scenario when it comes to digital payments in the world, and we're at the precipice of taking it even further. So we really cannot afford for a lack of trust or a lowering of trust.
See, a lack of trust emanates from a gap. What are we talking about is the gap. Somewhere or the other, I feel that, like, Pradeep was saying, that we are just looking at the tip of the issue. We actually need to see the waterfall mechanism and see where it actually percolates or originates from. And that is all about taking responsibility. Like in the last session, Pankaj spoke about every individual having a skill passport that needs to be renewed every 5 years. I will say every corporate, be it a public or a private, needs to have a report card. And why isn't that report card
a cyber report card, you mean?
A report card. A report card that includes that what has been their vulnerabilities at the end of the year when they are filing their annual reports with regard to the cyber attacks that they have been exposed to. Report it. Because in 2022, India's largest medical center was exposed to a mass exposure of the data leakage, right? With patient files being available openly. What happened to that? Well, public memory is short. Right? Now, public memory can be short, but then again, I always say the technology is a wonderful thing, provided you know how to use it. If it is, and once it is there on the internet, it's there forever. So if my report card is there for a public, because yeah, it's there on MCA, everybody can read it. And we are, and as human beings, we are only worried about the accountability.
Yeah, so there are bodies for insurance, there is a body for a lot of things. Like if you see CA bodies, there's medical associations out there, but there should be a cyber body that should be coming out with the compulsions and checks for the corporate.
I think I'll put on also a part of my legal hat over there. We don't need any more bodies. We don't need any more regulations. We now need action. Okay? We need corporates to wake up themselves. We need governments to come out themselves and say, here is an RFP.
What I have seen is, unless there is a danda, they don't imply actually. Means compliance
every one of us can take on that danda.
If you see the banks आ गया है, DPDP का डंडा आ गया है.
But if you in banks, if you see, RBI is putting so much of pressure that banks are at least much better than any other verticals. But then why the other verticals are not able to do? Because there's nobody standing behind them to make them, force them things actually.
नहीं फोर्स वाली चीज़ है, बट यू आर राइट. एटीट्यूड जनरली हम लोगों का, इंडियंस का एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड सिक्योरिटी इज लैक्स. you know, you are traveling in a train with somebody, and by the time a 2-3 hour journey is over, you know his entire medical history, you know probably his turnover, you know about his family, you know about the fight that he's having and stuff like that, you know. So that is generally the kind of an attitude that we have, and that percolates to even corporates. Okay? And therefore, if there is a corporate leakage which happens, the first thing is to suppress it and not report about it and not talk about it. So, you know, we do have that sort of an attitude, and that definitely does need changing. And for that, we will require a whole lot of training of corporates, individuals, at all level, that kind of a thing is required, and we require the danda as well.
You know, you say lacks on security. The other way of looking at it is that Indians were the ones who had put trust in the system and took to digital payments much faster than those in Europe and America.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, that's something that we should adopt. It's great, and therefore we must use it more often. I think that's a direction which is a very positive direction, and we have to move in that particular direction. We can't reverse that process.
Now, I say that when you said that Indians are, too quick to trust, completely agree, but we are too delayed to verify.
Fair enough. Quick to trust, should be quick to verify as well. Some questions coming in from the audience over there. Sir, please go ahead, then I'll come to you.
So it was just an observation when she talked about the report card for the organizations. I think ITAC and ITGC audits do exist, and quite a few sensitive organizations or corporates. They are going through ITAC and ITGC audits, which are nothing but report cards. Ultimately, the report by the auditors is presented to the management, and it is for the auditor to file these reports with the respective authorities. So I think something is being done. It's just that management needs to be more conscious about, being very transparent and fair in terms of reporting the lacunas that could be addressed.
So, you know, perhaps if you look at the top 1,000 companies, they would be doing it. But the moment you go to the next 2 lakh companies, how many of them would be even knowing what kind of attacks they are under every day?
And
I'm sorry, it's a very poor situation in India.
And you hit the nail on the head by saying that it is people or companies that have sensitive information. So by that, you are categorizing that you are vulnerable, so you are doing it, but others are not vulnerable. And that is the laxity that we are living with. The other thing is with report card, generally after 2 or 3 years, or even the first year, if you have a nil attack, okay, companies get it to be saying that why should I do the audit? I have already had a nil attack. Now, let me say that as a risk consultant, I always say that a risk assessment is just not to know that, what after what has happened. It is also to say how many millions and trillions you've saved. So a report card needs to work both ways.
I just want to make a point here. I spent 15 years doing these audits. I used to be a director with Ernst & Young and Deloitte, then became a MD at ProTVD Consulting. None of the IT audits will help you find out if your data is leaked on the dark web. It will not help you find out if your passwords are already compromised. It will not help you find out if you are vulnerable to social engineering. It will not help you find out if your profile has been replicated on social media 4 times, 5 times, or your picture is being used by a cyber criminal to create another photograph, another account of yours on WhatsApp. So the attacks have evolved. It will not even tell you if you are susceptible to a deepfake or your personal information is lying somewhere. So the techniques for doing IT audits, your audits are completely outdated. We need to overhaul and look at what are the new techniques and methods used by cyber criminals to attack individuals. And mind you, it's not just corporate. It's today people like you and me who are victims of cyber attacks. The real fight starts when people like you and me are working with cyber police stations to investigate cybercrime and understand the techniques, tactics, and procedures which are used by cyber criminals, because they are way ahead in the game.
Gentleman over there in the blue.
Yes, I had a quick technology question. So one of the strategies is to, of course, deal with the attacks after it's happened and download it to your phone or your computer. So I guess the data in networking, if you will, it's transmitted in packets, right? So I guess the new frontier is to look for whether there is a virus in the packet or whether there's a malicious thing in the packet. So to the panel, part of the panel who are engineers and do the coding, how far away are we in that road? Because, so if you remember, there was a company called JDS Uniphase, right? And in the 2000s, and now it's broken up or whatever. So they do a part of this, and they're trying to automate and scan packets. But how far away are we where you can actually look at the information which is being transmitted, track the source, and then act on it maybe?
So the technology is available. I'll speak and then let Sanjay add because he does some fantastic work on that.
Okay.
So the technology is available. The issue is that it is only available for VIP and VVIPs because it's too expensive. So we have tools and technologies through which you can identify if there is a malware or a virus or a Trojan sitting on a desktop, laptop, or even a mobile phone. You have systems which are available. The only thing is people lack awareness in terms of how to use it.
No, so I mean during transmission, before it comes to your laptop, that's what I mean.
So there is a command and control server which gets set up. Now, if it is getting set up, there are mechanisms through which someone can detect and tell you that your system has been compromised. Some of the telcos have started doing this. The Computer Emergency Response Team in India tells it to organizations, but you require a larger democratic setup where there has to be, some agency, a public or a private agency, which could tell you. The best is a telco. Jio is also started. If you have the Jio app, it has a scanner which will tell you if your system is already infected, right? Otherwise, you will have to download a popular software. Sanjay has one. You can ask him more. Thank you.
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing is, he rightly pointed, technology is already available out there. And here, it's like there's a multiple organization roles that comes here. One is telecom, the other is the applications. And we are seeing on, because of maybe the competition or high, means the timely releases, people are coming out with softwares that are not tested well, they're not built with the security thought at all, and then they are carrying vulnerabilities. So no matter how many technological layers you add to the protection, there will always be some new vulnerability which these hackers will be finding or trying to find, and as soon as that's found, it's like all these protections get bypassed and the exploit gets executed. Now the here point is we have to be covering protection from the development angle as well, so the security from the application developers has to be tight and it has to be made to the level where it takes care of threats. And on the other hand, we need to create educational or update educational content. As earlier Kanish rightly pointed, we do have cyber awareness campaigns happening. We do have a lot of courses in colleges as well. It has to be from my personal view, it has to go till schools, not only colleges. But it's not only that we need to just add a cybersecurity chapter. It has to be up-to-date content which makes sure that people are having the latest of the knowledge to fight this or take care of that actually.
Right. So I think you're misunderstanding my question. What I mean is, see, I'm in the space business. So if you're sending a signal to Mars, you're sending a JPEG to Mars. It's 1.2 gigabytes. It's broken up into different parts, right?
Yeah.
This is what Comcast does, or your Geo is doing. So those tiny packets, which are much, much smaller, can they be scanned? So even before that hacker is reaching out to you, that can
so
be
usually
intercepted.
it's like seeing a packet, a single packet, rather than the complete message that has to be seen, it's not doesn't give the complete picture. So what technologies that I'm talking about are available is they stand in between as a layer. They collect all the packets. They make sense out of what is there inside these packets before the user reads those packets. They are scanned and the results are shown. Like if it is malicious or if there is a vulnerability out there, they just block those and they don't give it to the operating system itself. So there's a layer out there and it happens at the edge and the technology is available there. But it's only that it's costly and people, those who want to protect, they invest into them actually. Generally, it's like intrusion detection and prevention at the packet level actually.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I just add a sentence to that? See, there is one is technical vulnerability. The bigger thing is the psychological vulnerability. Most of these crimes that happen are because of the psychological vulnerability which is there. And I think we need to find a solution ourselves to those vulnerabilities.
So thing is that now what I wanted to say is there are so many call centers running in Noida, West Bengal, many other places, which are actually doing these type of cyber crimes, and many of them are being exposed on the internet by hackers from US, Canada, Europe, and all those things. And all that information is openly available that these call centers are running from these places. But the thing is, action is not being taken. So now what has happened, I'm from the IT industry. What is happening because of these things is, because action is not being taken, our image in the international market in US, Canada, Europe is taking a big hit. Like it will affect us, the IT sector in India also, if action is not taken on this thing. Because now we are being compared to, like earlier there used to be this called the Nigerian prince. Now it's a big thing, like, okay, I'm getting a fake call, you must be an Indian. Or if you are an Indian, you must be running a fake call center, running scams in US or Canada or these other places. So it has to be addressed, it cannot be ignored. But can we put a word towards the government that this has to be taken very, very seriously? At least the information which is available in the open, those call centers can be shut down?
I want to answer this question because I have been working on this problem. So if there is a fraudulent call center which is operating in Noida and they are attacking the US, unless a complaint is made to the right authority for taking action, it's very difficult. So for any international crime, this has to be reported to Central Bureau of Investigation. Then the Central Bureau of Investigation has to work with the state police. So right now, this is one of the big concerns because a lot of times these fraudulent call centers are operating and they are not doing the crime in that state. Now, crime is a state subject. If crime is being committed in the US and you go and complain, or I or Sanjay go and complain, they said, what is your problem? It is not happening to you, it is happening to someone else. Let the person from US report. The person from US will report, it will go from that state to FBI, so it's a huge cycle put together. And unless it is so much burning, impacting many people, people have this ability saying, it will not happen to me, why should I get into it? So it requires larger collaboration, and bodies like Interpol come into the picture for solving this. The next part which is more critical is in India, cybersecurity or crime is still a state subject. So you don't have a national authority which is responsible for responding to cybercrime. We have MHA I4C, but it is more of a coordination role. You have Bureau of Police Research and Development, it's more of coordination. The crime is still being managed by the state police unless it is something which impacts national safety and security. So it's primarily you require a national agency to respond to this, and you require a lot of international cooperation, and you need to have partnerships with those agencies. Right now, we have seen large number of cyber fraud call centers being taken down in Gurgaon because of the work which has been done by CBI and by FBI.
I think I'm also going to draw the topic home and say that to say that the state police is not acting is not true. I work with the police day in and day out, okay? There are n number of case studies if we choose to read them and we choose to acknowledge them. But we cannot also deny that police in India is terribly understaffed, okay? Police in India is also battling to come up with the grappling sense of what is the new cyber technology all about. And that is where we need experts to join hands with them and form the task force. It is not possible single-handedly to bring the criminals down with the kind of force that they have and with the kind of existing knowledge that they have. They do brilliant work day in and day out.
Sagrika.
हम लोगों ने चोर को पुलिस बना लेना चाहिए.
Sir.
Scamsters को इस तरफ ले आओ.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Sonal Khanna. I'm the co-founder of a cybersecurity organization, Secure Blink. So my question is, with the rise of state-sponsored APT groups like APT44 from Russia, which have demonstrated sophisticated cyber warfare capabilities targeting critical infrastructure, how can nations effectively balance proactive cybersecurity measures with the complexities of geopolitical tensions?
Who wants to take that?
So I think the cyber APT group that you're talking about did not attack India. They attacked Pakistan's infrastructure. and Pakistan was not able to identify it, right? If you read more about Turla, you will find out APD-44 has not attacked India. So you also have to understand how geopolitics comes into picture. A lot of times you require more cooperation in the cyberspace. So India being where it is, it requires more cyber cooperation to counter where the cyber threats are originating from. So today, most of the cyber threats which originate from are from countries like China, Pakistan, North Korea. These are three. Now we are seeing more cyber criminal activity also happening from Bangladesh because of the new front, the change in regime that has happened. So geopolitics plays a very, very important role. The people who look at cybersecurity don't understand national security, don't understand geopolitics. So you require not just cyber experts today, you require people who understand geopolitics, you understand how national security plays in. Then you require an element of cyber diplomacy. So you can go back and attribute this in international forums like United Nations and tell them that we have been a victim of cybercrime, or we have been victim of cyber fraud or digital arrest, and we see a state getting involved. The cyber arrests which are happening, digital arrest, don't treat it that these are cyber criminals operating from Cambodia and they don't have connects with states. There is a state connection there as well. You have countries like Pakistan and China involved in this because they are trying to attack India's GDP. So geopolitics does play a very, very important role.
But Kanishk, these days they bounce off through different IPs. So actually in India, a lot of attacks are actually coming from US, Canada, and so on. They may be originating from some of these other countries, but they often get routed through very friendly states also. So it's a very
Absolutely.
tricky
In the
problem.
case of bomb hoax, we saw all the VPNs which were used, they were from UK. So every television channel was carrying that now UK is attacking India. But the issue is that most of the VPN providers were registered companies in UK or US. So it's very important when you do the investigation, you find out, you look at doing open source intelligence, that the threat actor, the profile, the techniques, tactics, procedures, the indicators of compromise they have used, you will find out the telemetry and identify they are sitting somewhere else. So Tor, VPN are the technologies through which they try and remain anonymous. Even platforms like Telegram offer that kind of anonymity because you don't need to have a mobile number today. You don't even need to have a verified email ID. And you've got a lot of email ID service providers today which allow you that anonymity, that you don't need to give the information, and they don't even cooperate with law enforcement agencies today. So you have this Proton email, which was used for sending blackmailing or sending these bomb hooks. The Proton does not comply to India's regulatory guidelines and still works in India. And it says that we comply to the Swiss law. So every time the Indian government wants to reach out to them, Krishna, they have to first talk to Interpol and then talk to the Swiss government, and then you have to prove that why this is a problem as per the Swiss law. Now that's complex.
That's complex. That deserves a Netflix documentary. We're completely out of time on that. But I'm going to let the gentleman ask one last final question and wrap this up.
Sir,
Please.
want to share a unique experience of our own Delhi cybercrime police. 6 months back, there was a cybercrime. A substantial amount was involved in this. Police reacted very fast, cybercrime department. They traced, out of 40 people, they traced 10 of them, put behind the bars. The money which could not be transferred to overseas, that was retained, confiscated by police. Now, what happened next? During this course, 2 of the cyber criminals, they went to eating chaat pakodi, that chole tikki, 130 rupees. And after eating that, they went to Sulabh Shauchalaya. Police reacted so fast, because cybercrime, there is a section from one MIE number to second MIE number down the chain. You can detain all the persons because that cybercrime money is involved in it. Now, the lower court detained that chaat pakodi person, 130 rupees, and that Sulabh Shauchalaya person, 5 rupees. But because it was a money transferred from that EMI number. Now, matter came to Delhi High Court. It was very difficult to explain High Court judge. It took 3 months, and practically every week there was 2 dates. At last, we took the help of cyber experts and all particular experts. Then they were agreed, okay, we will give the bill. This was, but kudos to Delhi Police Cybercrime, it reacted very fast. And that person was not at all influential person, but amount was substantial. This
Fair-
is my experience, personal experience.
Fair point. So I'm going to conclude this discussion on the note that India is leading on so many things: digital payments, internet penetration, and the rise of cyber frauds as well. If there's something that we're lagging in, it's cyber literacy. And that starts from the common man to those in the system, judges in the legal system, policemen, enforcers, all of them. Cyber literacy is lagging. And if there's one takeaway for me, it is that there needs to be greater cyber literacy in this country so that we eventually find the right solutions for a safe and secure cyber future. I'm going to thank all the panelists. A huge round of applause for this wonderful panel who has just not taken my questions, but so many of the audience questions as well, because this is an issue that affects all of us. It's all about safeguarding our future. I'm going to thank Shagarika Chakraborty, CEO of IRIS, Mr. Sanjay Katkar, Joint Managing Director, Quick Heal, Mr. Pradeep Gupta, Chairman and MD Cyber Media, and Mr. Kanish Gaur, Cybersecurity Expert. Thank you, all of you, for being on the panel. One more huge round of applause for the panel over here. Thank you so much.